Welcome back, America. It's Hugh Hewitt. Everyone knows, I think, Arizona's the best governed state. Ohio's a close second, but between Governor Doug Ducey and Attorney General Mark Brnovich and a state legislature that takes its job seriously, they got a booming economy. They are dealing well with the COVID crisis, and they are trying to protect the vote. I'm joined now by Attorney General Mark Brnovich of the great state of Arizona. Hello, General. How are you?
I am doing great, Hugh. Thank you for the walk-up music. I will say the old Mark Lindsay song, Arizona, and yes, just holding up well. So thank you very much for having me on today.
Well, let's talk about what the Arizona legislature wants to do to protect the vote and what the Ninth Circuit did to stop you from protecting the vote and what you've asked the Supreme Court to do in response to the Ninth Circuit.
Short version is Arizona passed laws that prohibit the practice of ballot harvesting. That is turning in ballots that basically don't belong to you if you don't live with that person, you aren't a family member or a caregiver. Also, Arizona has laws we've had them since the 1970s that prohibit out-of-precinct voting. Two very common sense measures that other states have, in fact, many states throughout this country. And basically, after a 10-day trial, we won at the federal district court level. We won originally, and Hugh, you're a lawyer, you know, we won originally 2-1 at the Ninth Circuit. And then an unusual move, en banc, the Ninth Circuit overturned itself. And so we are now appealing or asking for cert from the United States Supreme Court, basically saying that these common sense election security members should be upheld by the Supreme Court and send a message once and for all that states are in the best position to enact security measures when it comes to our elections.
Now, I am personally in favor of the Israeli system, which is even stricter than the strictest American system. But I'll tell you what, the laws that Arizona passed are absolutely vital. Ballot harvesting is a nemesis. It is the death of confidence in electoral security, and it's happened in California. And as a result, people don't believe in the results anymore. General Brnovich, when will you, go ahead?
Sorry. No, I was going to say is that look, I mean, there was a commission in 2005 on voting and making sure that we have secure elections after the Bush-Gore stuff. And that commission recommended that you have prohibitions on ballot harvesting. In fact, they said states, quote, should prohibit a person from handling absentee ballots other than the voter, a family member, postal service, or election officials. You know who said that or was the co-chair of that committee, Hugh? James Earl Carter Jr. Yes, President Jimmy Carter was the co-chair of a committee that recommended prohibiting ballot harvesting.
Now, the Ninth Circuit has gotten better, but it's still not very good because it's still a majority Democratic appointees, and they are still the most reverse circuit in America. It's getting better. You drew a bad en banc panel. I'm sorry to hear that. But when will you hear from the Supreme Court on whether or not they grant cert on these vital cases?
Well, and we're fighting the Democratic National Committee, and I should add here, we talk about the great government in Arizona. Our Secretary of State has basically taken a fall in several of these cases, and so she refused to defend these laws. That's why we stepped in to file the cert petition. So the Democratic National Committee has 30 days to reply. I'm assuming we'll get all sorts of amici from all over, and then we're hoping that the Supreme Court will conference this and hear the case this fall, because it is really important that we get that Ninth Circuit decision stayed so it's not in effect. Otherwise, literally, there's dozens of states that will have their voter integrity measures called into question and maybe subject to, being put on hold or not being allowed to use to ensure the integrity of elections. So this is a really important case. We're hoping the Solicitor General's Office of the U.S. weighs in and supports our petition quickly so we can get this case heard quickly and provide some certainty and clarity to the law.
I really cannot understand how a Ninth Circuit panel, no matter who's on it, would overturn a state law concerning ballot security. Prohibiting ballot harvesting. I am dumbfounded by that. What was their argument, General?
Well, I guess in a nutshell, they hung their hat on the fact that it violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, and so, obviously we vigorously disagree with that. We think that's a red herring. We think it's a classic liberal tactic to, find some way to overturn common sense election integrity measures, and that's exactly what the court did. I mean, Q, you know me. I've always said I think Arizonans are in the best position to make laws for Arizonans. I don't need a bunch of unelected people sitting in ivory tower in San Francisco at the Ninth Circuit telling Arizona what they should or shouldn't be doing, or implying motives to the great people who live here without any evidence.
Yeah, there's a reason there's a wagon train headed from California on a near continuous basis to Phoenix and Tucson. And it's not because California is well governed and the judges in San Francisco know what they're doing. Attorney General Mark Brnovich, great to have you on. We will follow this case closely.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you next time I'm in Phoenix, whenever we start resuming move around the country. Don't you wish
Thanks,
you
brother.
could see that? Thank you, my friend.